guys, welcome to the Erudite Podcast. I'm your host, Kelly. Today, Las Vegas, Nevada. This was my first trip during COVID. Wanted to bring you some footage from Las Vegas. Overview of our hotel where we stayed, which was the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas. This is the new Raiders Stadium for those of you who are welcome or interested. It's a very, very nice stadium. Didn't go inside, of course, only saw it from the street. But we stayed at the Paris Hotel. This is on the Strip, Las Vegas Boulevard in Las Vegas. It was only about 5 miles from the airport. Flew in to McCarran, I believe it is called, airport there in Las Vegas. Rented a car. Actually, probably took us as long to get to the car rental as it did for us to get in the car and drive over to the hotel. Strangely enough, our GPS put us on the highway to go 5 miles, and I think the reason they did that was because maybe the Strip was a little busy that particular day. But this is on the Las Vegas Strip. As you can see, there is Caesar's Palace there in the back. This is the pool area. I don't have enough good things to say about this particular hotel. This is a view from our floor where the elevator is. But I promised my wife a trip to Paris last year, and of course COVID hit and all that had to be canceled. So this was the second closest thing, Paris, Las Vegas. And although it wasn't Europe, it was a very good trip for us because we hadn't traveled in a while and we really enjoyed this hotel. Here's what I can tell you. The hotel was very clean. It was very, very clean. I was very pleased with the check-in process. I will tell you, I got a little turned around. When you park in the parking deck, you are adjacent to Bally's. And when you come down the escalator, when you come out of the parking deck, make sure you go left at the Iron Man. Go left at the Iron Man, not to the right, or else you're going to be heading to Bally's like I did. We stayed on the 25th floor. This is a room tour. This is our bathroom. This was a 1-bedroom king suite. It was very well laid out. Very pleased with the way the room looked. The cleanliness. I apologize. The trash can there is full, but this was taken on the last day because I forgot to videotape the bathroom. But I was very pleased with this hotel. I highly recommend the Paris Hotel for a number of reasons. I'm going to get into it later. Very big shower, very clean bathroom. The entire room was clean. And one of the things that we did when we got to the hotel was to notify the staff that we did not want any room service for our 4 days there. And so we immediately requested all the towels and different soaps and things we would need for the entirety of our visit. This way, no room service or anyone was coming in and out of our room. I didn't mean to say room service, but cleaning. Speaking of room service, there is no room service for maybe obvious reasons, but we didn't have any room service. And here you can see there was plenty of room for closets, there was drawers, there was updated electronics. There wasn't a ceiling fan, but I don't think you need it. The only thing that I didn't like necessarily about this particular room was our view outside, and you're going to see it in just a few minutes. The problem was the windows were not clean. It was a fantastic view. I asked especially to have this because I wanted to be facing the tower. I thought it would be really nice for me and my wife to be in the room and be able to look out and see the lights on the boulevard, and especially the lights at the tower. So this is our view from the room. Not a bad view, but as you get closer, you can kind of see on the outside of the window that they were not clean. Hopefully this is in the making. I don't know. With COVID, maybe some people were laid off and they just didn't have the money to clean the rooms or the windows, but who knows. Again, we're on the 25th floor. The hotel was not busy. The weekend, we arrived on a Thursday, left on a Sunday, so it got busier toward the weekend, but we never really found that the hotel was super busy or that it had a lot of noise. Thursday was pretty domicile, wasn't a lot going on. We were able to walk and not see, big crowds of people. I will say this about the hotel. The hotel had strict regimen in terms of mask. This was for Las Vegas, period. You couldn't do anything without a mask on, which was great. So you had mandates on masks everywhere, and most hotels and most casinos had masks available for you if, for example, you didn't have one. And the last thing I'll say before I start describing the casino and the layout of the hotel is that there is a Walmart close by. And one of the things that we did after we ate lunch, we went by Walmart and we were able to pick up some Lysol. And so we sprayed our room down completely. Of course, we wiped it down completely with Lysol wipes. And after that, we were good to go. So now you're seeing some of the eatery, some of the areas there. This is all Paris Hotel. And that's the casino there to your far right. And then these are all shops and different bars and restaurants that you can eat in. The decor was fantastic. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about it. I love this type of scenery. I've never been to Paris, but I love the fact that they went to such lengths to kind of recreate what I assume it will feel like, maybe minus some of these casino machines. But there was a lot to see there. And again, I highly recommend. And I'm going to kind of quiet down and kind of let you enjoy some of the walkthrough here. And I'll come back at certain points and just point out some things that I see that are significant. So enjoy.
That's how you get to the Eiffel Tower restaurant. That's how you get to the Eiffel Tower restaurant. No, it's like 4 or 5 stories up. All the way up to the lookout. Observation deck.
One of the things that was most eye-catching, of course, is at night, and the Las Vegas Strip was all lit up. And this is what Paris looks like at night. And I was told by some friends and family that joined us that some of these replicas are exactly the way they are in Paris. Not the tower. The tower is, I don't want to say much smaller, but it is smaller. But some of the other areas were spot on, according to them. And at night and early in the morning, this was my view. We slept the entire time with the windows open. Bally's is directly across the street, so we were able to see the water shows. Right down the street is Ari. Further right from Bally's is Caesars. So we were in walking distance. Although we rented a car, we were in walking distance of pretty much everywhere we wanted to go. A little further into the video, you'll see where we went to Fremont Street, which is much further down the strip. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that later. But Bally's and Caesars in Paris seem to command a large crowd. Now, as you can see, here are some folks. They're out on the street, but also, as you can see, everybody had a mask on. I could count the number of people on maybe 1 or 2 hands that didn't have masks on. And man, it was just really great to see everybody, compliant. I even saw a few homeless people with masks on. This is the Bellagio Hotel. This is the lobby. They had a fantastic art gallery, shops, you name it. I mean, some of these places, this is our first time to Las Vegas, and I got to tell you, this was colossal in terms of scope and design. It was just beyond what I thought it was going to be. You know, you think mostly casinos and places to eat, but the beauty of some of these facilities was just, oh my God, it was just fantastic. And this is this is some art that was there on display. I am sure that this is not going to last all year. I've been to the MGM in Washington, and they have similar setups in their lobbies where they have curators come in certain times of the year, and they decorate the lobbies in different ethnic, or cultural designs. And this garden, this Zen garden, if you will, was absolutely beautiful. Hopefully, you can get there in time to see it, because it was certainly worth the see. We did catch the water show at night. It's about 15 minutes long. I'm gonna do a separate video, and I'll put that up pretty soon, but that was pretty nice at the Bellagio. And here's one of the days we just walked Las Vegas Boulevard. There's so much to see there that it's gonna take up a few days if you do it right. If you go down and if you check out all the hotels on the boulevard, and if you go inside to check them out, it's going to take you some time to do that. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you the amounts of steps that we went through each day. I mean, it's like being at Disney World. I'm talking 20 to 25,000 steps we were doing. But the place is very clean. Here's the other thing about Las Vegas that I thought. My first time, again, it's my first time, and granted, this is during COVID, so the crowds, I'm sure, are normally larger. And again, this month is March. So factor all that in when I say this, but the areas were very clean. there were some homeless people, and unfortunately, there were some homeless, like young people, which was a little bothersome. Not bothersome like they're bothering you, but like it was just troubling to see young people that kind of hit that um, homelessness, so early in their lives. I'm not obviously sure what's taking place, but there were quite a few young people in their early 20s I noticed that were there. But anyway, as you walk up the boulevard toward the airport, the Luxor, Mandalay Bay, some of the other well-known hotels are there. We took the time to video a lot of this stuff and actually went into the Mandalay Bay. A good piece of advice, perhaps, is if you don't like crowds and if you don't like to be around a lot of people, I suggest you stay in Mandalay Bay. Why? Because it's much further up the boulevard than Paris or the Bellagio or Caesars. Caesars is kind of right in the middle, and it draws so many people because everybody wants to see Caesar's Palace and see the Bellagio and see Paris that I found that there were the most people in that area. And when we walked up to Mandalay Bay, not so much. So I'm actually thinking myself the next time I go back, assuming all this COVID stuff isn't over, then if I want to minimize crowds and things like that, particularly on Fridays and Saturday evenings, Mandalay Bay is probably the place to go. And again, most people are probably not walking all the way up to Mandalay Bay just to kind of hotel surf, if you will, just to see the casinos and see the bars like they are Caesar's Palace and Bellagio and Paris, because they're all right there together. So if you want a little downtime and not so many people, I recommend you staying at Mandalay Bay. And it was absolutely beautiful, just as beautiful as any of the others. So check it out. So one of the things, if you use TripAdvisor or any sort of app to determine things to do in Las Vegas, Fremont Street is going to come up. And I've got to tell you, the pictures look better than being there in person. So on one end where we stayed in Paris, close to the Bellagio, it was like being, in new construction, like the new phase of your community that just started building. And then coming down to Fremont Street was like phase one that, they did this back in the 70s or something. Family that was joining us actually had visited here several times before, even as kids. So I actually think the 70s is true. I think Fremont Street's been around a long, long time. It is still a place I'd recommend you go hang out and check it out, but it's going to be very different feel from the Bellagio and Caesars and places like that. It just seemed really old Las Vegas, the Golden Nugget, casino, and all these sorts of things. This place was full of a lot of street performers, a lot of panhandlers, some security and police, of course. A lot of the folks that are trying to get you to take pictures with them that are in these different costumes. But I think it's well worth seeing. This is also a place where you can find those cheap meals, steak and shrimp and all this stuff for $11 and, that sort of thing. But they tried to do some updates, I think, because as you can see up top there's some zip lines that run all the way through Fremont Street. It's an outside carnival type of feel because there's music going all the time. There are different side attractions. There are the street performers, and there's so many visitors. It's kind of like being at a beach in the summertime and you just walk on the boulevard because there's so much stuff to see. So if you are going to Vegas and you want to see everything, I think you have to put Fremont on your list of things to do. Speaking of things to do and things to see, also the high roller area is going to be a place that comes up a lot in TripAdvisor. This is a big eye or Ferris wheel that's there in Vegas. Most large cities have them. I know here in Atlanta we have one, but it's not as large as this. I was told this one was possibly the largest one in the world. The reason I'm hesitating is because I think the one in London actually is, but I don't know that for a fact. This is only about 4 blocks down from Paris. On the right-hand side of the street, and if you walk past it too fast, you'll miss it. Some of the folks that we were walking around with actually have been there before and said they never been here, and so they kind of missed it. South of us was the Venetian, one of the places that I definitely wanted to visit. It was always on my radar for obvious reasons, because this is where they have the indoor boat rides and outdoor also, but I wanted to do the indoor. Here's a piece of advice, particularly if you're going during higher traffic times. This was in March, so the wait times to get on this boat, if you wait to do it in the evening, is going to be in excess of 2 hours. I mean, you're going to wait. What we should have done as soon as it opens, I think it opens at like 11. We should have just did it then, but we were trying to get some of the later in the evening ambiance and the nighttime and stuff like that. We didn't know it was going to be so, crowded. But when we came back, unfortunately, the wait times were just so great that we just ended up not actually riding it. So if you're interested in doing this, make sure you get on it sooner than later, because the wait times can be bananas. Other than that, make sure you walk around, take lots of pictures, because the Venetian is so beautiful. There's a lot of paintings and different things on the wall that you can imagine. Very good restaurants inside. It was just a really, really beautiful hotel. Okay, so I'm sort of saving the best for last. And Caesar's Palace was, if the Bellagio in Paris and all these things really impressed me, Caesar's Palace was just over the top. It was just the design, the scope, and the magnitude of this place is beyond anything I ever imagined. I don't really know what I thought Vegas was going to look like, but this was so extraordinary. It wasn't this. So in Caesar's Palace, you obviously have the hotel, the resort area, spa, and the casinos. But in addition to that, you also have this huge shopping area and dining area, this mall area that I compared to one of the nicer areas here in Atlanta. A lot of people come from out of town to even come to these places called Phipps Plaza or Lenox Mall. Super nice, but nothing touched what I saw here. The casinos were enormous. I mean, you could get lost in these places, and I think that's probably by design. But it was enormous. There was so much to see, countless restaurants, countless dining options, bars, different places for you to just sit and watch TV or play, obviously, casino games. As you can see, there's a pub bar straight ahead there. There are a number of restaurants that you'll notice as I was walking through. I'm just going to try to point out a few of them to you. We did eat here at Caesar's Palace, and while I'm talking about food, let me mention to you in the event that you may have forgotten. So I am plant-based. I'm a vegan, and whenever I travel, sometimes it becomes problematic, depending on where I go, to find vegan options. Now, we did eat at a restaurant here in Caesar's Palace. We didn't have a reservation, so I was super thankful to even be able to get in. However, it was not like a higher class type of restaurant. It was more of instead of having a chef, I think they had a kitchen manager. So I was not able to, they were not able to offer me any options that were not on the menu, if that makes sense. Now, mind you, they have Nobu here. They've got some really high class restaurants, but you need to have reservations, number one. And when I came, you not only need to have a reservation, but you had to be considering that there was only 35% capacity in the restaurants. So it was very hard to get a reservation. So my point is this: while I was very thankful to have an opportunity to eat inside Caesar's Palace, I ate down by the 8 Wonders of the World, a place called Trey. It just, because I'm vegan, there was hardly anything on the menu for me to eat. My company didn't have that problem. They were able to eat. They're not plant-based. So if you are plant-based, this is the restaurant here. If you are plant-based, remember when you go here, just make sure that you kind of scope out some places that can fit your needs. Now, having said that, I'm going to recommend 2 things. One, I'm going to recommend to you an app called Happy Cow. Second thing I'll tell you is when we were there, not inside Caesar's Palace, but in Vegas, they had some tremendous options as it relates to vegan food. And we took advantage of that. So while they were not able to meet my requirements here in Caesar's Palace, some of the places that we found outside of Caesar's Palace in Vegas, generally speaking, was called Vegan Nation, was number 1, and the other one was the Modern Vegan. Those are just 2. So the Modern Vegan and Vegan Nation, they were fantastic. So if you're a plant-based person and you're in the area, just you know what we have to do in order to make sure we have food. Just be aware and use the information that I've given you. But Caesar's Palace was beautiful. It was stunning. It was all of the above, and we didn't even get to go into the Coliseum because there was not an event taking place. But the good news is that we did hear that events were going to start kicking back up. There was a Jerry Seinfeld show that was coming. There was a Usher show that was coming. Boys to Men. A couple different things were happening. We saw billboards all the time. So Vegas is coming back alive again. This is one of the more popular places. It's humongous. I can't stress how big this place was and how beautiful it was. Had an aquarium inside. It just was beyond everything I thought I was going to see in Vegas. It was just really a palace. And so when you go to Vegas, if you don't see any other hotel, you got to see Caesar's Palace. You got to take the time to walk through. You're going to miss a lot if you don't. You may miss them if you do, because I'm sure I didn't see everything. But it's a beautiful, beautiful facility, and I can't wait to go back to visit again. I hope this has helped you a little bit, and just a glimpse of what Vegas is looking like these days. And traveling during COVID was not very tough. We flew Delta. We made sure we had double face mask and a face guard, and we just didn't eat on the plane. We waited till we got to our hotel. So just be patient, pack your patience, be safe with your hand sanitizer, make sure you're washing your hands. And here's the stat I was going to show you here toward the end of the walking that we did. I mean, we did some walking. As you can see, I exceeded my 10,000 every day I was there. So thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.